to the next, and let's go to the main topic of our show. So let's talk a little bit about.
Yes.
This is something that you've been waiting to talk about.
Yes, I love it.
Okay, so latest
great episode.
The finale. What did you think about it?
First of all, to start, I loved how they did like an homage to like the old school.
I know, the very beginning, I'm like, it's their original
it like
TV
hit,
show.
it hit different. And I was like, oh, hell, this is great. And
First thing I said was, oh, we doing this.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved it. And it was gitchy and just this cool little like vibe. And I totally dug it.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed kind of it was like they're calling it out. They were calling out their own bullshit.
It got really meta,
Yeah, they called out their own bullshit, and I loved it. First of all, I love that about any show that will just be like, yeah, here's our bullshit. Let me toss it in your face. It's great. And the way she broke the fourth wall,
perfect.
It was chef's kiss. It was great.
The way the show started off, it started off on track where it was from the last episode and leading into this whole mystery of who is King Hulk and all that stuff and all that. So it started off that direction, and then as the plot started, I felt like this episode was calling out exactly what the people who are complaining about the show were kind of saying about it. It went there in a very weird and interesting way, to the point where, like, when I was watching it, I was like, so did you purposely make a couple of those up? Because remember when I was first watching the show, like, this is the funniest show. Now this is the funniest episode. Now this is the funniest episode. And then it started to kind of dive off. I'm like, did you do that on purpose just to call it all out at the end? Because that's not good. That's not good. You shouldn't have made. I'm not saying that they purposely made bad episodes, but I'm sure the detractors are going to say that they purposely made bad episodes so they could call it out at the end, because she perfectly called it out.
Why would that be bad? If anything,
because you might lose viewers.
But they didn't. If anything, it's freaking brilliant. They set the story up. You fell for it. We were the dum-dums that fell for it. And then they went, ha, 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 we've had this going the whole time, you idiots.
Yeah.
You fell for it.
The second Hulk showed up at the end, in the middle of that fight, and she was calling it all out.
Yes.
What is going on? None of this makes sense. She was starting to say the things that we were saying. Like, what did you think about the show overall? And
well, I loved the ending, like where we were, once she started calling stuff out, and then
totally broke the fourth wall.
Oh, I
that
loved
stuff
it.
was hilarious.
Yeah. It was so good.
You're watching it going, what the heck is going on here?
Because she did that same thing in the comic book, and it brought it all back into perspective. She was calling out all the beta males that were all like, oh, this is too woke, and this, that, and the other. And it reminded you, guys, this is just a fucking comedy. That's all this. It's just a comedy. Now, I have a theory that a lot of the things that happen it is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I have a feeling like the way they broke the fourth wall in this episode is twofold. For this one episode, this series is going to pick and choose what is real canon and what isn't going to be canon. Like the whole thing with the whole thing where we saw Abomination fighting Wong and all that stuff, and they explained, well, he broke me out, and then it went this whole weird direction with Abomination, with them fighting Hulk again at the end, to the end credit where Wong broke him out of prison. Well, that was what people were thinking from before the series. Like, obviously, Wong broke him out of prison, and they're friends. So it's almost like this whole season. I don't know how to explain this. You can pick and choose what. I think Marvel is going to pick and choose from this season what is canon and what is like.
It felt like a closed loop to me.
It's just a fun off ramp.
It felt like a close, because the show basically started with Wong coming in and having him escape.
Yeah.
And so it felt like a closed loop of that in a way. Like they literally ended where they started.
Well, and sometimes people really struggle with having something that's just fun.
Yes.
They need everything to have a specific purpose and line, and let me go back to the 1967 book and comic and number episode title, whatever, and it doesn't follow the line. Like, guys, it can just be funny and mean nothing. It's
Yes.
It made fun of itself,
It's
and
okay.
they even called out the writers. It's like y'all are doing the typical Marvel thing, where it
Yes.
has to be this forced fight mega thing at the end. It doesn't have to be
She's
that.
like, no.
And she course corrected.
Yep.
And made it what.
She was like, guys,
Which-
it's just a legal show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a legal show.
comedy.
Like we don't need the asshole villain to get Hulk powers. Just let him be accountable for being a dick and being an asshole, and just put him in jail for for the things that he did. And that's it. They retconned in the middle of the episode. They retconned and took things that happened that were a mistake and course corrected it in real time. Never happened before. That's why you don't really need to take this whole thing seriously.
What I think is kind of fascinating, that I'm sure somebody way smarter than me will make a better sort of connection for this, is the concept of it at the end when she's like sort of walking up the steps and he's like, so are you a superhero or a lawyer? And she's like, both.
Oh, at the end. Yeah.
At the end. And to me, that was like, okay, she's doing things in this way where it's the everyday person that can be the hero, the everyday job that most people can get. Yeah. And she's both.
And then we have to throw in, what are you wearing today?
I know, and that was the best. I was like, oh, of course.
All right.
And
Yeah,
she walks
whatever.
out.
All right, well,
it was the best. That was really well. That split second of comedy,
When-
but it was really well done. I thought, in that sort of like concept of giving hope to the everyday hero in that aspect.
When they got to the part where they were like, well, I'm just going to talk to Kevin Feige about it. We got a new subscriber, Gregory. Thanks for joining, guys. When he said, I'm just going to talk to Kevin.
Let's talk.
Nobody talks to. I was like, it turned into the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Nobody talks to the Kevin. Nobody talks to the Kevin.
Yes,
I noticed
it did.
in the middle of the episode. I'm like, why is Kevin's name abbreviated? I
Yeah.
noticed that I was watching with the captions on. I was like, why is his name? I was like, damn it, Kevin's not in this, is he?
The only thing I was like, if Kevin Smith comes on screen.
Some people thought that. Some people thought, what if a different Kevin
I
was playing
know.
Kevin
That's
Feige?
what I was like. If Kevin Smith comes on screen, I am going
That
to flip
would've
my
been
shit.
That would have been hilarious.
He's like, well, I'm
It's fucking a hockey jersey.
Yeah, look, okay, like, all right, She-Hulk, so it was what we're gonna do. Okay, like, boom, like, Hulk comes in, boom, all right, so, all right, baby girl, like, that would have been hilarious. Like, him having the Kevin Feige hat on, that would have been funny as hell. But that conversation with the robot Kevin that was in control of the whole universe,
What would you like to see?
that was funny
I'd
as
like
hell.
to bring Daredevil back.
I
I'd
even
like to
liked-
smash that again.
Yeah. Oh, and he's like, all right, I got you.
No, yeah.
I felt like finger guns were happening.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But no, the best part.
Oh, the X-Men.
The X-Men
Yes.
reference I thought was the best moment.
We're not
Yes.
It was
gonna talk
like
about that right now.
because in that moment she was in our mind once again, just like episode 1. She was in our minds
Yes.
at the time. Like what's the word I'm trying to look for? Fighting for the fans. Like we're all when did the X-Men come? And she tried.
She did.
She tried. She's
She's
like,
like,
I got your
hey,
back, guys. I'll bring it
hey.
up. But Kevin's not gonna let you know. And then what was that other funny thing that
He
he
goes,
said?
We'll see you on the big screen. And she's like, really?
She got excited.
I know, that was so
No.
mean. I even went, and then I went like this.
It got me. It got
did
me.
me
I was like, "Ooh, that's a huge announcement." And but then it got me for a split second. But I was like, "I bet he's gonna say no." It got me for a split second. But I was like, "No, they're not gonna put her on the big screen."
I loved how they like almost made him like his little hands, like they humanized him.
he could-
As I was like,
weird.
I was thinking of Wall-E the entire time. I was like, this is very Wall-E-like.
Oh yeah, it did remind me of Wall-E a lot.
Like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know, the little creatures that they had cleaning up all the stuff. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, but that was hilarious. But then in the end, when the whole thing with
I know his son.
and with his son and stuff, I was explaining to Joy like that's a whole thing with Planet Hulk and it's a whole. I didn't read the Planet Hulk comic book. I've heard a lot about it. And he has a son from that. Like you kind of. This is what I was talking about earlier when I meant like they're gonna pick and choose what is just was a joke. I don't really expect to ever see his son in the future until they really want to bring it up in the future. I don't think they're going to bring his son into play for real. I think I think that's going to only stay contained into the episode.
And of course, Matt Murdock being there for
Yeah.
He's only
Oh yeah,
here
you got
for
a little
week,
bit more
guys.
smack.
Yeah, I know that was the great part. I love that. It was hilarious.
What did you say? I smashed the fourth wall. We smashed the plot, and I smashed Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
And then in the end, we got full
Yep.
circle. We got Wong to come
Full
back
circle.
again. So that was good. I thought it was. I think that this episode moved to my second favorite episode besides the first episode, and I enjoyed it. Guys, let us know what you guys think about the series. That was our that we watched the whole thing. That was it. So will there be a season 2? Will there not be? I don't know.
Cross your fingers.
I hope so. Let's now I hope to see She-Hulk in the Deadpool movie where they both go to Marvel Studios and high five each other.
Yeah, no.
Fucking with Kevin Feige.
Yes.
Like, are you about to go see Kevin Feige? I just got through messing with him. But I'm sure you're gonna be a little robot in the Deadpool movie.